funding, cash flow, these are the kind of things. And also the new lean startup approach to getting yourself into business. We have people presenting that and discussing it. So contact Hillary, she's the Executive Director of Sierra Commons, and if we see you, we see you. And if not, put the word out, and we're still looking for people. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, the course is $400.
A while ago, we're using Infusionsoft. You guys know Infusionsoft? Might know it a little bit, yeah. So Infusionsoft is an extremely powerful tool. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But mapping the life cycle of a marketing campaign, attracting the traffic, capturing the leads, nurturing the leads, converting, delivering, upselling, and one of the most important and often forgotten parts, the referrals. That's what it looks like to us. So we're going to go into the first part of this. The first part of this, attracting that traffic. How are we doing this? How are we getting people into our pipeline? There's a lot of ways to do that. I mentioned some earlier, SEO, ads, advertising, pay-per-click, that's all out there. But social media is where we want to spend a little time, specifically with Twitter. So I'm going to share with you guys kind of my philosophy of social media first, before we get any further. I have a nonprofit on the side where I speak to parent groups about the issues that kids face online. My partners and I ran some focus groups, and we had an online survey for young people. I've got 2 daughters, and this is where I spend my time, and I'm seeing what's going on online with kids, and it's mind-blowing for me. So listening to young people tell us their experiences about what they're doing online, and we had this epiphany moment, like, we got to do something with this. So when I'm not out talking about social media and the day job, I'm out speaking to parent groups, PTAs, church groups, whoever will have me, and sharing what's happening with kids, trying to get parents involved, trying to get parents engaged with their kids' online lives. You'd be surprised how difficult it is to get a parent to look at their child's phone, to get a parent to talk to their child about who they're texting. But one of the things that I scream at the presentation for parents is the same thing that I'm going to share with you guys now. It's all social. It's all social media. I'm 41 years old, so when I think of social media, I immediately think of Facebook. That's where my brain goes. I get that graphic of Facebook. And then I start to think of Twitter, and then maybe a little Instagram or LinkedIn. It's so far beyond that right now that we kind of need to relearn that phrase as it exists, social media. Every website, think about it. When you go to a news website, there's social components. You're asked to comment. You're encouraged to share. Games, same way. Games that we play. You're playing online with people. Apps that we use. Social components to all of it. So think about social media less as in the social platforms, the networking platforms that are out there, and start to rethink about it in the terms that it's everything. Everything that we do online is social. But specifically, we are going to talk about Twitter. This is the cover of the News and Review earlier this year. It's kind of hokey, but it was the, you know, the Snow White, when she's got the little bird. They're like, let's do that. That'll be cute. So that was what we did. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Twitter. I'm a late adopter, but I'm a huge fan. I've had great success. I've had great stories come out of it. I've connected with people, with businesses. I'm going to tell you story after story. Visit Stockholm, Anthem Blue Cross, Southwest Airlines. Visit Stockholm. I was planning a trip to Stockholm with my girlfriend a year and a half ago. Went on Twitter. I found the Visitors and Convention Center Bureau for Stockholm. Started following them. Started reading what they were tweeting. Started tweeting them back. This looks great. This looks cool. I like this. I can't wait to experience this. Got a private message from them saying, thanks so much for the Twitter love. We'd love to give you a free pass to all of the museums and a free transit pass while you're here. Right on. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm going to be tweeting while I'm there anyway. It's not like I was going out of my way to do anything different for them. I had a major problem with Anthem Blue Cross a couple of months ago. Major problem, I guess, in the greater scheme of life and everything going on. It's probably a minor problem, but it's an irritant, right? One of those issues. I emailed them and I said, will you please stop sending me paper bills? I don't have any paper bills in my life except for you guys. I do everything online. There's no reason to receive a paper bill. And they said, okay, we will. We will do that. They canceled my online account. Just deleted it. Okay, not what I was asking. In fact, that was the opposite of what I was asking for. So back and forth, on the phone, can't get any resolution with them, can't get through to the right person, keep getting transferred, keep getting told that can't happen. I started tweeting about, this is driving me crazy, blah, blah, blah. I got a tweet from them within a couple of minutes. Very sorry for your experience. What can we do to help? I DM'd them exactly what had happened. Within 5 minutes, fixed the problem. Fascinating. Fascinating. Customer service. The customer service was right on it. I couldn't get that experience on the phone, but I grabbed it on Twitter. Southwest Airlines is awesome on Twitter. They do a great job. They are manning it like few companies that I have seen. Anytime there's an issue, anytime there's a delay, anytime someone gripes, anytime someone hypes them up, they're on it, taking care of it. So check out these companies if you can. If you're ever interested in going to Europe, by the way, I highly recommend Stockholm. And, pro tip, Norwegian Airlines flies out of 4, maybe 5 now, cities in the U.S., one of them being Oakland. And their trips from Oakland to Stockholm are ridiculously inexpensive. You done that?
I have somebody who
Yeah. So we've been to Europe twice already on them. We went to Paris. We got from Oakland to Stockholm, round trip, $450.
Wow.
I can't get to South Carolina to see my family for $450. So they've got some things worked out. I'm a huge fan of Norwegian Air. And then from there, their intra-country flights from Stockholm, from their hub, are $37 one way. So I went to Paris, round trip. I think it was about $515 round trip from Oakland. And Oakland's a super easy airport. It's not like SFO. I hate SFO. It's so far down there and it's so hustle bustle. Oakland, you just walk right in. Anyway, so that's my thing. Check out what Anthem's doing, Blue Cross. Check out what Southwest is doing, and visit Stockholm. And so for me, Twitter's a hybrid platform. Yeah, it's a social networking site, but it's also that customer service site as well. And businesses are using it as both. They're using it to promote and also to respond. It's a way more responsive site than Facebook, than a lot of the other social platforms that are out there. Way faster. Show of hands. How many of you are using Twitter? When I say using, I mean not just have an account, but like you actually do things on it. Okay, there's a half a hand raised.
Quarter hand.
Quarter hand, okay, got it.
Just over just having an account.
It's so fast. It's so responsive. And to some people, perhaps that's a detriment. But to me, that's a key component of it. Now, I look at Facebook as being slow.
I think one of the, for me, for someone who runs a local organization, I don't use Twitter a lot because nobody up here is on Twitter. I don't have a lot of feedback. I don't get a lot of interaction there.
Sure.
So that is something that hinders us. I follow you now. I follow everybody related to business and every business magazine and every, we follow a ton of people, but as far as local organizations and local partnerships and local businesses, very few. And the ones that are on Twitter would be here like this, saying, oh, we have an account.
Right. And I hear that quite often. And that's one of the reasons why I think people, after they get on Twitter and they start to abandon Twitter and not make it a priority for their business or for themselves, is that there's not that gratification where you get those likes like you do on Facebook. And it's a much more interactive site that way, or platform that way. So you feel like there's more stuff happening. And the rule of thumb right now with Twitter is that it's about a 90-10 rule. 10% of the people are making 90% of the noise. But there are a lot of lurkers out there. I get it all the time when I go places. Oh, I saw this, and I saw that, and I saw this, and I follow you, and I have no idea who they are. because they've never tweeted to me ever, but they're watching. So don't get too discouraged if you're not getting that engagement like you do on other platforms, because it'll happen over time. But a lot of people do feel that same way that you feel, and I did for a long time as well. I can post something on Facebook, and I can get 30 likes and 20 comments, and it feels like something's happening, and I can tweet the same picture and maybe get one fave or something. And that's, it starts to feel like I should just be over here because this isn't working, but it does work. It is working. And it's that instant connection to people and businesses that we don't have in any other way. And I see it all the time with news, businesses, something happens and it's like, oh, I want to see who that is, or I want to see what business that is, and I'll just jump on Twitter and find that person, that celebrity, that sports star, whoever was running their mouth, whatever's happening that you can see. And it's like, wow, I'm right there now in the action. You don't get that with other things. And the businesses are the same way. Some businesses aren't as responsive as others, but some are tremendously responsive. So that's my case for Twitter. I love it. Again, I was a late adopter. I didn't get involved with Twitter heavily until about 2011 when I started thinking, okay, wow, I get it now. I'm over that mental hurdle of what it is, and so this is where I'm going to be spending some of my time, spending my energy and my efforts. So I've spent a good bit of time on Twitter, and it's the platform for me for these reasons. Do you guys have any other questions for Krista?
Yeah, for larger corporations, maybe the three up there, do you have any insight as to how their Twitter accounts are run? Is it they hire a single person? Is there a team?
Yeah.
And maybe also for government as well, is there one person, is there a team? Because you can tweet the White House, but I highly doubt that Barack Obama or Michelle Obama is tweeting you back.
Sure.
So.
Well, and what they've done, Southwest does, what was the other one that's doing it? Comcast. I had a Comcast problem the other day and I'm not shocking anyway, right? So I started
lies
tweeting
now.
them.
I think they're turning lies.
What they'll do is they'll sign their tweet with initials, the DR, whatever it is, and so that's the person that you're speaking with.
Okay.
Because these guys, Wells Fargo, a lot of the large companies, they'll have a suite of people working on digital media, social media, different platforms. So if you're tweeting with someone and then you take that conversation private with a DM, they'll keep using those initials so you know that that's the same person. And the president will sign the tweets that he sends BO. So if you ever see a tweet from the White House, well, he actually has his own Twitter handle now as of a few months ago. But prior to that, when they were coming from the White House, he would put BO at the end, so you knew those were specifically from him, not from the administration. So that's how a lot of the companies handle it. The smaller ones, they have one person, probably. Like even the city of Sacramento, I know, has one person that manages their Twitter account. And so not really any need to put initials when it's just one guy doing all the work. I got a few little things here that I just wanted to share about the breadth of Twitter and how far it's coming. That one was fascinating to me when I looked at it a couple of weeks ago. Your average Twitter user is shopping online about 7 times a month. And these are the people, these are millennials, these are people that are online. They're using the internet in every way possible. So it shows that they're there in a myriad of ways. It's not part-time users, it's not half-ass users. I mean, most of the Twitter users, the heavy users, are involved in all regards of digital technology. You guys understand some of the basic concepts? I don't want to get too basic for you. No? Okay, yes ma'am.
Yeah, I get it. In fact, the take-home message so far I'm getting is it's a great platform if I'm not happy with a large company's service to get their attention. But my question is, I'm a real estate agent, and of course I wear a lot of hats. How do I fit Twitter into my business model, and how is it applicable for the little fish, like a single solopreneur like myself?
Well, let's go back to that strategy for a second that I talked about earlier, that social media strategy. And for me, Twitter is a great way to drive traffic to a certain place. And it's a great way to help you build an identity online. So for you, you want people to eventually go to your website, right? That's
Sure.
where you want people to go. So when you're looking at that strategy, and we're talking about what a social media strategy even is, for me, the core of a social media strategy is the content wheel. So my background as a television news producer, I used to have a 30-minute newscast every evening. And I had to tell you what was going on in the city of Sacramento or Seattle in those 30 minutes. Well, I would lose 3 minutes to sports, I would lose 3 minutes to weather, I would lose about 9 minutes to commercials. So then I'm left with about 14 minutes that I got to share with you everything that's going on in the community. I have to tell you what's happening, I have to figure out the order of the stories, how they're being treated, and who's covering them. So I apply that same mentality to social media and finding that balance of content. What we know is that you cannot run a 24/7 commercial for yourself, your service, your product. No one cares that much. We're not that awesome, period. No one is. So coming up with that content wheel, coming up with those pieces that tell your story, that's to me the crux of it all. That's the backbone of a social media strategy. So starting to look at who you are as an individual, where you live, the area that you work in, all of these things start to come into play to figure out what my story is online. So for you, for instance, you're a real estate agent here.
Yes, locally.
So being able to celebrate what's going on in the community,
Right.
being able to celebrate the changing seasons, being able to celebrate business successes that are happening around you, community outings, things that are happening here locally. Talking about what's happening in the world of real estate. It doesn't have to be necessarily your own original content. In fact, most of it's not.
Right.
But you're also positioning yourself as the expert by being the one who's sharing that content. So I'm sure you've got lots of Google alerts set up. You get lots of different stories about real estate all the time. So being able to tweet out a link and say, hey, check out what's happening right now with interest rates. Check out what's happening. This is awesome. Look at this. So then you start telling that story of who you are. Then you start dropping in, I've got this listing. Check out my website. So all of these pieces start to come into play to really show who you are online through Twitter. And Twitter is driving that traffic back to your website.
And how often do I do this in a given week?
All right, well, we're going to dissect your whole entire program right
Well,
now.
no, I just was, I don't know, I know that there are certain strategic times that you should post on Facebook because they've
Sure.
done all those algorithms and studied that, so I just
Sure.
wondered if there's a magic formula for Twitter.
You know, I don't think there is, honestly. I think everybody's different because everyone's story is different and everyone's audience is different. I like to create some plans and some ideas and go forward with those plans, but then making sure that we watch the analytics. I use a social media management tool called Sprout Social, sort of like Hootsuite or TweetDeck, that allows you to manage all of your social media accounts through one place. And I can get analytics reports through there every day. It's like my dashboard. That's my lifeblood. Every day I go on and I have all of my accounts linked there. And I can start to run some analytics to see what we're doing, to see how we're doing. And so what's working, let's keep doing that. And what's not working, you know, let's abandon that. Because things are going to work great, and some things are going to fall flat. And that's okay. So being able to adjust your sails a little bit and focus on what's working. So come up with a plan that you like, that you're comfortable with, execute it, and then just adjust it accordingly. So as far as the secret formula, I don't know that there is one. You know, I like to start my clients out usually, if I just did a strategy session for a big law firm in Sacramento, and they're in mining natural resources. So we're going to be tweeting 4 times a day from their account, with the goal of driving traffic to their blog, but also that blend of content, that mix of things that we were talking about earlier. Sharing the successes of their clients, talking about things that are happening, sharing articles and stories that are happening in the world of natural resources or mining or law, things that are happening in California that affect the economy. So finding that voice of who they are and then dividing it up, tweeting those stories throughout the day. So Twitter to me is the traffic driver It's the way that you're gonna get folks from point A to point B. Yes, sir.
Am I alone in never having read Twitter? I mean, I posted a bunch, but I never like sit and read it. Am I unusual?
I mean, I'm sure you're unusual for a lot of ways.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know,
I don't really quick
that's
study.
necessarily one of the ways that you're unusual. A lot of folks, haven't embraced it, that they don't take the time to do it. So,
I mean, do you read it? You're talking about posting. Yes, you follow the people you're following and you get in there and read.
yeah, I
I
do.
find it frustrating to read with all the @ symbols and short links.
Well, what I've done is, and I'm actually going to pull up Twitter here in just a second, but what I've done is you can create lists on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So you can have custom lists that are public or private. So I have a private list of about 400 Twitter accounts, news, people in the community, comedians,
Yeah.
like Donald Trump, that I really just, make me laugh.
Yeah.
And so I follow those folks. So when I'm looking at Twitter, I don't look at the main feed of the 12,000
Oh, that
people
sounds
that
useful.
I'm following.
That sounds
I
good.
look at this list.
That sounds great.
And I also have other lists that I have segmented out for various reasons as well. So when I
So
look
you
at
can-
it, it's relevant for me.
Right, so you can do your Sacramento, the environmental clients you were just talking about, create a list just for them, and then you spend 10 minutes on that client, you're reading just what's in there. Oh, that's great, sure, I like that.
Yeah, and you can do it in a number of ways, and you'll see when you look at people's accounts that certain people have gone above and beyond with their list making, and they'll have their list public.
Mhm.
I love when I find a good list that's public, that I can see that someone has gone in and created a list of Sacramento journalists. Like, oh wow, this is great, look at all these people who are on Twitter, television reporters, newspaper reporters, magazine reporters, that I can just start finding people that way.
That sounds great.
Are you going to show how to do that?
Yes.
If you're lazy like me and you don't want to curate lists, because it can be time consuming, and if you've got 6 other social media platforms and you don't want to do it, you just look at hashtags. One of the things that I use is when there's something trending or a news story, like the hashtag that I was obsessed with, that many community members were, was the Lowell Flyer hashtag.
Mm.
So you would get up-to-the-minute updates from people like CAL FIRE,
Yeah.
Grass Valley PD, things like that, about what roads were closed, who was being evacuated.
Right, I've used hashtags for that. I think I was talking really about what you hit on the list. I didn't even know about that. That sounds amazing.
I'll show you an
Mine's
example.
a mess.
So you guys do know that tweets are limited to 140 characters. If you're using a link or a photo in your tweet, those take 22 characters for some weird reason. So you're down to about 118 characters. As a television news writer, I never thought that I was actually learning a skill that I was going to apply later in life. You have such a finite amount of time to convey such large messages. So you learn to write tight action verbs, not a lot of fluff. And that's what it comes back to on Twitter for me. It's one of the reasons why I like it, is it's direct. You don't get into a lot of flowery language, not a lot of adjectives, very few adverbs. It just becomes noun, verb, go. And so for me, I dig it. Did mention hashtags a while ago. And for those of you who don't know what a hashtag is, think of it as a hyperlink that's going to take you to story list or things that are happening around this topic. And it's a great way to find other people who have relevant interests, businesses, perhaps seniors. If you wanted to start trying to find people on Twitter, I think that would be a great way for you to go about doing it. Look for seniors, look for senior movers, things like that, and you can start finding people who are having conversations. You're probably not going to find a lot, because that seems like a pretty niche market to me, but
Yes, well, and also it's not just seniors, it's the adult children of seniors,
There
the
you go.
boomers,
There you
really
go.
are the sandwich generation, whom are my clients, so I didn't think of at the beginning. I thought, actually, my mindset
Yeah.
was, I'm not gonna have to learn all this stuff because my clients are seniors.
right. Right.
Wrong.
Yeah, right. They're not the decision makers in their lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Great.
there's a million or more hashtags out there. You can make a hashtag out of anything. You can hashtag Nevada City, and then all of a sudden, you just start clicking on it and seeing who else is tweeting about Nevada City. Are they proprietary? No, not at all. You can just write anything and make it a hashtag. And all you do to make something a hashtag, all a hashtag is the pound sign. the number sign in front of a word. Capitalization does not matter with a hashtag, so it can be upper or lower.
So the hashtag subject could be anything, but
Yes.
hashtag creates a subject.
Hashtag, like I said, Nevada City, hashtag moving boxes, hashtag duct tape, who knows what, I probably wouldn't click on that one.
Packing
but-
tape.
Wait, packing tape, there you go. Who knows what you're gonna find in
Hashtag Sharpie.
That one might be a good one. I bet Sharpie owns that one, they've probably been crushing that one. Yes, sir.
You said something the other day, that you're putting out 4 tweets a day. I mean, I spend hours just going through the hundreds of emails and Facebook I get a day. I mean, and I had to just stop unfollowing somebody because I was getting away too many tweets. How do you manage that?
So, we all have, this is kind of a philosophical thing. It's on us as the end user to decide what our social media experience is. We have free reign. We have control over who we follow, what we see. And it took me a long time to give myself permission to unfollow my sister because she posts horrible pictures of her lunch every day, and I don't want to see that anymore. And it created a little bit of a rift, but I'm like, this is my life. I have free choice of what I see and what I don't. So, first of all, getting over that obligatory follow, that person you feel like you're supposed to be following, or that business you think you're supposed to be following, maybe because they follow you, maybe because it's a friend, it's this, it's that. Make your experience your own. Enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. So find the accounts. If they're tweeting too much, in your opinion, unfollow them. It's okay.
So that, in one sense, if you tweet too much, that's a bad business practice. It's gonna
Well, what is
drive
too
you
much?
away.
I mean, too much, that's a really subjective term, because for a lot of folks who are following a lot of people, there's a lot of noise out there. So, Roy Vaden, who I mentioned earlier, who's the best-selling author, who's one of the co-founders of my company, he's tweeting every other hour.
Yeah.
He's got 18,000 people who follow him. And there's a lot of noise out there that he's trying to cut through. I think that's a little bit much, and I have told him as much, but everyone's going to have their own belief about what works and what doesn't. And so if you're following 50 people on Twitter, or you're following 100 people on Twitter, and you follow someone who tweets a lot, it might get annoying. But if you're following 2,000 people or 2,500 people, that volume starts to increase significantly. So how do you make your own name there? It's a balancing act, and I do take that into consideration. The law firm that I mentioned earlier, working on their strategy session, their senior partner said the same thing. He said, "That's too much. That's too much for me. I don't want to get that many emails." Then I had to explain to him that Twitter was not email, so that was an entirely different conversation. Yes, ma'am.
But it's still time-consuming social media. I mean, whether it's email or Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, it still eats up my time and I have to actually work at some point.
Well, it should be fun. It should be educational. Don't make it work. If they're making you work, then unfollow them. This is your experience. This is your social media world.
They'll steal me away from my work.
Unsubscribe to those emails.
Yeah.
Unfollow those accounts. If it's annoying you, if you dread it, don't do it.
No FOMO, no fear of missing out.
There you go.
Adopt that. I'll talk. No FOMO, no fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out.
I'll talk to you about it. It's a
FOMO.
new social
Like that.
media tactic for people who feel like they're going insane because of social media.
And people feel like they have to scroll. They wake up in the morning and I have to scroll all the way back to before I went to bed last night to make sure that I didn't miss some valuable tweet. That's what we're kind of talking about, that thing. I have to sit here when I wake up on Facebook and go all the way back to last night so I didn't miss anything. And people spend a lot of time that and it starts to control you.
Yeah, it's like, that's where I get my clients. They write me,
Well, and they write you emails.
but I don't use Twitter. I figured it's an overload.
Is your inbox overloaded with emails because you have a lot of notifications that you're getting from Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn? Because I can tell you, there can be a lot of those.
Oh, yeah, and I vote for race.
Okay, well, I would highly recommend you go into your settings for LinkedIn and for Facebook and for Twitter and for all of your things and turn off all of those email notifications, because that will kill your inbox. Especially LinkedIn is awful about email. And it seems like they update their agreements frequently and reset some of their settings from time to time. And I feel like I have to go back in there for some reason and turn that off. But I have all of my notifications turned off. Everything. I don't get any email notifications for anything that happens online. I have all of my notifications turned off on my phone, wherever it is. I don't get any red dots on my phone. I just don't. I'm not going to be Pavlov's dog. I check it enough. I'm not going to miss something. I check it when I want to check it. I check it when I have time. So that's my advice. Don't let it crush you.
Your friend that tweets every other hour,
Yes.
is it brand specific? Whatever he's tweeting about, he doesn't also tweet pictures of his cats?
No, he uses Twitter professionally, exclusively. He'll tweet back to people who tweet to him.
Okay.
He does a lot of scheduled tweets. He's huge in blogging. He has a very successful blog and podcast. So he uses Twitter to drive traffic to those two places. So his Twitter account is very professional. Get him to the blog, get him to the blog, get him to the blog. That's what he uses it for.
Do people repeat tweet content?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't have to be
Absolutely.
Shakespeare, everyone. It's just, yeah, gotcha.
Nevada County government hasn't had an original tweet since March. They retweet you, Bennett.
Well, he's talking about retweeting your own stuff.
Your own stuff, just like put it out.
Yeah.
You
So
put it out 3 hours later.
The belief is that, and I haven't seen the most greatest updated statistics on this, but only about 12%, 8 to 12% of people are going to see one of your tweets. So if you do the math, then you've got to tweet the same thing 10 times in order for everyone to see it. So, especially when it's evergreen. And what I mean by evergreen is, I mean something that is relevant today, relevant a month from now. So if you have a blog post about something that is still good 3 months later, why not? Why not tweet something about it? Why not try to drive traffic back to it? I mean, it's something that died on the vine yesterday. Was it about an event or it was about something that happened? Then there's no reason to kind of bring it back up. But if you're a good blogger and you have good original content somewhere, that's gold.
Yeah.
You know, give people back to it as much as you can. So don't ever feel like you shouldn't tweet something or drive traffic back to something just because it's a little old. If it's not dated, then it's still good.
Can you tweet to somebody or can you just tweet yourself?
Yes, you actually can tweet to someone. As soon as I switch over to Twitter, I will show you exactly how to do that.
If you don't, I just opened a Twitter account, so if you don't have any followers and I tweet, who sees it? Like, how do I get?
How do you get followers? Yeah.
Well, one of the ways that
Who they are.
One of the ways that you get followers is by following other people. Twitter has a very high follow back rate. So people that you follow will follow you back in turn. Not 100%, but that's where it starts to become your experience and your user experience.
Is that just good Twitter manners, or is it axiomatic that if I...
It's both. Yeah. So I think for if I was starting a Twitter account today and I wanted to step into the waters, what I would do is I would find people who are relevant in my industry and my community first. I would go to the Nevada City Chamber and I would start following accounts, active accounts. So I have my philosophy and my belief on it is that it has to be an active account. And by active, I mean someone that's tweeted within the last 30 days. If they haven't tweeted within the last 30 days, they're not an active user to me. So that's my own belief and what I look for when I look for people to follow.
How do you find out? How do you find people?
Well, that's exactly what I was just saying. So if you were to go to the Nevada City Chamber, and you can see who they're following, see who's following them, you can scroll through there And you can take a look, and you can see the businesses that are active, the people who are active, finding local news sources.
Well, I mean, how do you know the name?
I'll show you. So let's take a look. Here we've got the Nevada City Chamber.
Do they have a Twitter?
They have a new bike.
They have a new bike. That's strange. Let's see. That's my girlfriend in Stockholm. Always scared of what's going to pop up when I do this kind of thing.
We'll close our eyes if we have to.
Yes, yes, thank you. I think I hit everything objectionable on my desktop. All right, well, I apologize. I'm not sure why it's not popping up, but I will just hold my computer and show you because it's that easy. This is the Nevada City Chamber's Twitter account.
It's their what?
Their Twitter account, Nevada City Chamber.
Oh.
They are following 396 people, and they have 762 followers.
How do you find them?
Go to twitter.com, and in the search bar, just type in Nevada City, and you'll find a lot of accounts that pop up. And then you can take a look at who they're following, what they're tweeting.
Ooh, and lists.
And their list,
Never
right.
saw that. That's cool.
So then you can start to build your own. So they have a list here. I'm not sure what their list is. Let's see.
Nevada City Classic. Huh, the bike race.
I was gonna say most of the people they follow are all, are white
Is that?
cyclist
Yeah.
organizations, they're
Nevada
not
City
local
Classic.
businesses.
That's a big bike race there. Cool.
Can you sort the followers by location?
You can, yeah, sort of, kind of. I mean, you can get into advanced search features. It's kind of difficult. It's not the easiest thing to do. But if you get into, the easiest way to do it is to pull up, is to Google advanced Twitter search features. And there's some like codes that you can put in, colons and different things.
I was going to ask that and I didn't have an answer.
Yeah, you can do some of that stuff, but it's higher level thinking.
I'll tie it into the bicycle. Someone was asking how many people from the Bay Area were interested in followers of the bike racing up here. Because some of those are interested in moving up here. So how it came up.
Oh, you mean, can you dissect a list like that? I don't think you can.
No, I don't think you can.
No.
I've talked to the Twitter guys and then.
Yeah, exactly. So this is my Twitter account. So I've got 29,000 followers, and I'm following 12,600. But if I were to look at my Twitter feed with 12,600 accounts, it would be enormous. I wouldn't be able to get through it, because probably every 5 seconds, someone's going to be tweeting something new. I mean, it would take me an hour probably to get through 2 minutes of this. So what I have done is I have 5 lists.
It's not showing them on your page. It doesn't show. Are you on hidden?
I have them hidden.
Okay, great.
So they're private. So you can have a little lock, so when you create your list, you can make it public or private.
Nice.
And then I have a list that I have just tagged not boring, and that's my go-to list.
Not boring,
It's,
right.
you know, it's my news organizations.
It's a low bar.
Yeah, exactly. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's local news, it's national news, it's politics, it's comedy, it's the things that I like, it's the people that I want to see when I go on Twitter, things that are relevant. So that's how I use it.
And will you set up one, like a list for your clients you're working for, just so it's their world and you can immerse yourself in that without, that's great.
Yeah, and you know what, I do, I mentioned earlier that I use Sprout Social, which is like the Hootsuite TweetDeck kind of social media management tool. And if I could pull up my desktop, I would show you. But what happens there is that I can actually access a list through the main feed. And so when I pull up that list, so I pull up my list of Not Boring on Sprout Social, and if I want to retweet something from any account, I can, not just me. So I'm using Sprout, I'm able to use Sprout as my business, my nonprofit, clients that I'm working with as well. So I'll start to kind of just dump people that might be relevant to a client into that Not Boring feed as well, knowing that's where I'm going to be spending my time.
Interesting.
So I have a couple of businesses that I work with in Sacramento specifically that are Sacramento-centric. And so whenever I find relevant, positive community news that would look good from this chamber tweeting it or this co-working space tweeting it, then I'll just hit retweet and Sprout from that client.
Yeah.
So I think that's an amazingly powerful time-saving tool.
Can you do a second? I'm sure there's a YouTube video, but is there a quickie way to just set up a list? Do we do it from our own page?
Yes.
Okay. I can probably find it from there.
So if you click on your icon,
Yep.
list,
Yep. Oh, lists.
yep.
Yep.
Right here on the right, create a list.
Sweet. Love it.
Yep. Then that's where you name it. You can write a little description and you can make it public or private.
Love it. Thank you. That's good.
And how do you pull the things on this?
Very good question. So I will show you. We're running a little bit slow in here. So when I'm on someone else's page, the little cog, add or remove from list. And when you click on that, then your lists pop up and you have which one do I want to drop it into. Okay. So you just drop them right into your list. I know it feels time consuming. I know it feels like a lot, but put a little bit of front end work into it, a little bit of time.
But it's your private list.
I like mine private. That's just my personal
Well, I
preference.
think for most businesses, it's probably best to keep the list private.
You know,
Keep it exclusive.
yeah, I think it's, for me, I feel like it's my little secret playground that I like to go and it's not always, I wouldn't say it's always G-rated stuff that I follow either. You know, some of the comedians I follow are probably adult comedians that I wouldn't want all of my clients to see that, oh, this is the kind of stuff
These
that
are
Thomas
weirdos.
is following. Right.
Right.
I like those jokes. That makes me laugh. Does it make me a bad person? Maybe. But I like my clients to see something different. You know, I don't want them to go on and be like, oh, this is where Thomas is spending his time on Twitter.
Is it possible, Tom, to look at all the people I'm following and just add them to a list from one screen? Have you done that?
No, I don't think you can. I think it's an individual thing.
I thought you could block and copy.
They used to have that option. Let me see here. No, so if I go to...
Well, I can get all my people up and just add them. Not all at once, I have to do one at a time, but it's all there.
You can do it all the time. So if I go to the Nevada City Chamber and I click on who their followers are, then I get this grid view. Then I can follow and add to list one at a time right here.
Gotcha.
So that's what their list looks like. That's what their following list looks like.
Oh man, this is great.
And it's not something that you really have to... I hate list management. List management makes my eyes cross, you know, Excel and all the things. And so don't feel like it's that kind of list management. It's not. If you take a little time and put the work in up front, then every once in a while, when you're on Twitter and you see something by chance, or click on a hashtag, you're like, oh, add that person. It's just like that. So it's not something you gotta continually stoke.
Interesting.
Let's see. All right, I got about 5 more minutes on Twitter. What else you guys have? What questions do you have? What can we do? Please.
What about Snapchat?
That's
Totally different.
what's next on Twitter.
Different presenter, huh?
What about Snapchat? Man, Snapchat, are you guys playing with Periscope?
So, my niece, who's 14, taught me all of that over the
Okay.
summer. It was very overwhelming.
So,
I think you need to be 14 for some of those things.
yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Snapchat is a social platform that is predominantly used by teens. And it made its name because it was the one where it was saying your video or your picture will disappear. You know, something I can put out there and disappear after a few seconds of hogwash.
Yeah.
There's no such thing on the internet as temporary. We know this. That doesn't happen. So, it is definitely, it's also known as porn chat, you know, for people that are they're sharing body parts and things that they think is just temporary. It's not temporary. A, you can do a screen capture with your phone and grab anything that someone snaps to you, and B, it's housed on the Snapchat servers, so it's not temporary in any way, shape, or form. Periscope, however, real quickly, is a fascinating platform that a lot of folks are still, myself included, still trying to figure out how to monetize. Periscope is live video streaming. So you open up the app and I can broadcast. When I was in television news, we had to have a truck with a mast that shot a signal, and you'd have this really heavy-duty cable that you'd run out to a camera with a microphone, you know, $500,000 worth of equipment that I can now do with my iPhone. And folks, it is extremely powerful. Power of video, instant video. The people that are killing it right now on Periscope in Sacramento, Sac Fire Department is crushing it. They got a visual, right? They got flames, like it's something that's happening right now. So their public information officer is always one of the first responders on the scene. Pulls out his phone, periscopes it. Everybody in Sacramento right now is following Sac Fire on Periscope because it's instant, you know, and it's good visuals. It doesn't translate to every business, service businesses, but a lot of people are doing motivational speeches on it. A lot of people use it for a number of different ways. So I highly recommend you check out Periscope. I think it's a game changer if you're not familiar with it.
I have a question about Twitter.
Please.
So what do you do, like, for the people that start following you that are like, there's just random, like, marketing people, buy our t-shirts for your business. I haven't really figured out how to deal with those yet.
Well, there's a couple of things. If they're following you, you can ignore them because that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, you're not going to see them in your feed unless you follow them.
Yeah.
Or you can block them.
But does it look bad if you're like a specific business and, you know, a quarter of your followers are people that are marketing companies? Does it make you look unsubstantial?
You know, maybe to a degree. You know, it's always better to have relevant, engaging accounts that you're following or following you than spam bots. And it's one of the traps that I think a lot of people fall into on Twitter is that you can buy Twitter followers. I can buy 10,000 spam bots, Indian Twitter followers right now for the low cost of $3.99 or something like that. But to what end? What does that really do? If I have 100,000 Twitter followers and I tweet something and I get nothing, tumbleweeds, that looks bad. So for me, if you've got that many followers and you tweet something, you better damn well be getting some engagement, some comments, some retweets, something. Because I see it all the time. People that have 30, 40, 50,000 Twitter followers and they'll tweet something and just nothing. So that to me looks bad. I don't know if a business that has 400 Twitter followers and 10 of them are marketing, I don't know that you're going to get dissected that heavily. But I think once you start getting up in those upper numbers, people might think twice about what's going on. And there's a guy in Sacramento, a marketing guy, who somehow he has all these Twitter bots that follow him. So anytime he tweets, he gets retweeted 100 to 125 times. That looks good on his page, but all of those other accounts have no followers, so it doesn't do any good. You know, it's just for show kind of thing. It's black hat. It's gaming system kind of stuff. So I don't get into that. All right, I'm going to close real quick. couple of little things. So,
Is there a best in practice tweet blog or something like that, Twitter blog?
not that I found. I'm sure
Twitter
there is.
itself puts out its own thing, the same way that Etsy does.
Yeah, but I've had people who say that's little biased, so I was wondering if there's a good book or something, because...
Not that I have found, honestly. And let me close with the last thing about Twitter that I love is that what I love about Twitter is what I hate about Facebook. And what I hate about Facebook is their algorithm. It's their, we're going to help you see the best stuff out there. Screw that. I want to see what I want to see, and I want to see the people that I'm connected to. I want to see their post. I hate Facebook's algorithm. I loathe it. And I get why they did it, because Mark's trying to monetize it and trying to get you to pay to promote your post or rise to the rankings. I mean, it's all money, right? It's all the reason why they're doing that. Twitter doesn't have that algorithm yet, right? So who you follow is what you'll see. So it's a much better platform to be able to shape and mold your own experience. So I want to follow all of these people. I'll see all these people. If I'm friends with all these people on Facebook, I have like 3,800 Facebook friends. When I look at my feed, I see the same 30 people posting all the time.
Do you ever change your feed to be timeline?
Yeah.
Timeline instead
Yeah,
of...
and I have unfollowed all of the boring people, and I try to, I'm always milking that thing, and it's still just annoying as hell to me. You can't overcome what they've built. And I know why they've done it, and I get it, and they're making billions of dollars off of it, so good for them. But for me, it's an annoyance, and it's one of the reasons why I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, honestly. Because I just don't like being told what I'm going to see. I like to control my own experience. All right, I'm going to close real quick. So I mentioned that conversion piece, the Infusionsoft. What we're using Infusionsoft for at Southwestern Consulting is everything. Can you guys relate to any of this? Anybody have any systems that kind of look like this? You've got data over here, and lists over here, and formulas over there, and you're using all of these things. So Infusionsoft is a company out of Phoenix, just outside of Phoenix. And they've created a program, software, that allows you to do so much stuff. And I'm going to jump right to what it is. It's an all-in-one. You've got your CRM, your email marketing, and your e-commerce. We've been using Infusionsoft at Southwestern Consulting for about 4 years now, and it's a great success. It's specifically for small business. It's not enterprise level. It's not Salesforce. It's designed around 3, 4, 5 users to manage lists, and it is a magical tool. Anything that you can think of, you can pretty much do with it. Every question that I've had someone ask me about Infusionsoft, you can pretty much overcome with that. We've used it to launch program after program. This is when we started using it in 2012. You can see how it's helped our revenue. We use it for sales consulting. We use it for coaching. We use it to launch both books that Rory wrote, and it does it all. So what we have created is an Infusionsoft coaching program. So the analogy that we like to use is Infusionsoft is like having an all-access pass to Home Depot. And you can build a house, and you can go in and you can get anything you want. Any material, any tools, and go and build your house. But the problem is, most of us don't know how to build a house. So we need two things. We need an architect, and we need a builder. So we've created a program where we're coming in as the architect, and we're helping people create their Infusionsoft programs. We're not the builder, we're not pushing the buttons. The pushing of the buttons, it's a very intuitive program. You can get up and running in no time with it. It's drag and drop. Are you familiar with Infusionsoft?
Yeah, I use it.
You use it
I had to
all the
look
time.
up when you said it's very intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just for me,
It
it's
works.
so powerful, right?
It
just
is.
is.
But yeah.
So what we looked at was the opportunity to help other people use Infusionsoft. And there are a lot of people that can push the buttons. You can find someone just out of college, you can teach yourself actually how to push the buttons, but it's that higher level thinking, it's that planning that we offer the expertise in. So we do have an Infusionsoft coaching program. I can send you guys some more information if you want to figure out and learn about what it is. I'm going to show you 3 things real quick because I know we're running out of time. What our coaching program involves is one-on-one calls with our Infusionsoft certified ninjas. That's their term that they have for everybody that's at a certain level. We've created a series of videos. We have a 20 video library that we share with you that shows you how to get up and running with Infusionsoft. Detailed step-by-step process, how to import your lists, how to manage your CRM, how to create an effective email marketing strategy, a launch sequence, if you will, to go back to the launch conversation from earlier. And we also have a marketing mastery course that we give people that was created by one of our partners. So that's what we're doing right now with Infusionsoft. We have social media services, and it's that last piece, if you remember that triangle, content, traffic, and conversion. That's what we're doing with Infusionsoft. So I know I went over on time a little bit, so I'm going to let you guys get out of here. I'm going to leave you with one of the quotes from Roy that he talks about what we're trying to do with Infusionsoft. What Infusionsoft does is it gives you time back. You're going to make more money, yes, but it's going to give you time back to spend with your family, to spend on other ventures, and that's what we're trying to do. Help small businesses recapture some of their time, help small business owners reclaim a part of their life that they lost to that big jumbled mess of a slide that I showed you earlier. So I'm going to sit down and stop talking now. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to sit right here if you want to talk about anything. We have 2 bottles of wine that we are going to give away now. Thank you guys for all. Thank you so much. Yeah, don't do that. Thanks a lot.
Come on up here, help me out. You put your card in here?
I didn't know.
You didn't? Do you have a card?
I do, but it's gone.
We had a late provider. Did you put your card in there?
No, I don't have a card.
Okay. All right, well, you are perfectly suited to not pick your own card then. Let's go with, this is Shucks Fish Chardonnay?
Shucks.
Shucks.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So fishing hook, not a no. Got it. So let's start with there. Make sure not to pick your card even put it in there.
No, Sierra Commons Roy Hodge.
Woo!
Oh, you didn't.
Okay, there's one.
Liquid lunch.
That's what we're doing on our next Windsor.
Enjoy it.
Janae Carlson.
Back you up. Bring it in.
Enjoy one today.
I didn't get to mix them up very well.
Okay, well, we're at 12:30. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thomas, that was terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great, so please feel free to hang out for a little bit. Get questions for Thomas.
Congratulations, you guys.
Yes, we planned it that way. How are you?
Good.
Haven't seen you forever.
You're doing well.
I am, so excited. Well, no, what she did was she really, through the SWOT analysis, strength finder, really focused on me and really identify very clearly what my ideal customer is. Now that I've been in the business for a little while.
No kidding.
I'm starting to see, okay, I'll talk to you soon. Lunch, for sure.
See you at 2 o'clock.
So, we were able to take the marketing approach to help attract more ideal customers. And in the other area of weakness that I've had with my contracts, I always had a contract, but it left the do you need to order that? Will you give, you say, what job?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, they do, they're legalese.
If you could put the chairs on the sides and help us out, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
1 or 2 chairs. Then Morgan doesn't have to do it all.
And then, so that I'm not making more than the expectation. It clearly defines the expectation.
Yes.